Yahoo Finance Interactive hasn't run away from me yet. So here we are at the open. The Dow Jones Industrial Average. We'll put this on a chart view for you and give you perhaps the past 2 days once it toggles over. Dow Jones Industrial Average holding up by about 1% out of the gate here past 2 days. Net positive by a little more than 2%. NASDAQ Composite. You're seeing the tech heavy average up right now by 0.9% to start off today's activity. Past 2 days, yep, positive. You guessed it, 1.25% there. And over the past 2 days for the S&P 500 early in this week, you're seeing it up by nearly 2%, 1.9% to be exact there. 1% added here early in today's activity. We're going to take a look at the sectors, and then we'll get to some of those regional banks that were aforementioned. The 11 S&P 500 sectors here pulled up for you live in living color on your screen. We just had utilities flip barely into positive territory by the hair on its chinny chin chin, and that gives us all 11 S&P 500 sectors in positive territory, but now it's back in the red. All right, so you messed up my little flow there, utilities, but that's okay. We'll come back to you. Energy leading the charge. That's up by about 2.6%. We promised you some regional banks. We'll give you some regional banks. Taking a look at some of those regionals. You've got green across the screen in a broader rebound taking place here on the day. Let's take a look to see if we can find First Republic. Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, the biggest mover to the upside on those regional banks. But of course, because it was one of the biggest decliners yesterday there. You're taking a look at the past 2 days. Still net lower by 32% over the past 2 days. However, here out of the gate this morning, it is up by
year to date as well.
Yeah, year to date. I'll pull that up for you as well here. Year to date for, oh my goodness, yeah, for some of those regionals. Yeah. And of course, the beleaguered Signature. And then additionally, of course, you saw Silicon Valley Bank also, which is just, it is where it is right now.
Yeah, it's not anywhere
it's
right
not
now,
anywhere.
I think is the bottom line with that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back to today's session, though, in the intraday, it is interesting because we do have these reports now that JP Morgan is once again trying to spearhead some kind of effort, continuing effort, ongoing effort. You have that in combination with the Janet Yellen comments that the Fed is ready to help small banks in particular, and you have reports that the FDIC or legislators are considering pushing up the insurance limit for FDIC insured deposits above $250,000. It seems like all of that, perhaps, that concerted effort maybe has stopped the selling in First Republic. And just to be clear, when we talk about First Republic, we're talking about two different things here. We're talking about the market perception of the soundness of the bank on the one hand, which is represented by the stock price. And then we're talking about the deposits, right? We have reporting that there is our deposit outflows from the bank, right? But just to recognize there are two separate things. And this is something that was important, for example, to Credit Suisse. There's the soundness of the bank itself on the one hand, and then there is also the perception of the soundness of the bank, which sometimes is a very different situation.
And it sounds like other banks are believing that there is not a soundness of the bank, at least right now, which is why you have some representatives from JP Morgan trying to work with the bank and give them a little bit more of the options that could be on the table. Investment bankers hired and looking to advise First Republic on some of what those options might look like in the future, according to some reports. And then additionally here, the capital injection, it sounds like, could be more, or at least the deposits that had been put forward by the consortium of banks that could move into a capital injection. That is one of the options that they are also weighing as of right now here. So even as we're keeping an eye on First Republic Bank here today, which is up by about 29%, as we were mentioning, or 25% now, it comes as all of the regional banks seeing this kind of broader attempt to bounce back in the face of lower sentiment that we'd seen over the past couple of weeks.
And the big banks as well. We have been seeing some recoveries there. I mean, it's interesting to see that gain across the board. I think we have UBS there is up some 7%. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. It was down and then it went higher. And you had mentioned, usually you see the acquirer go down.
Yeah.
The acquirer usually goes down in part because people think they're paying too much for it, which is not probably the case for UBS buying Credit Suisse. So it's up
steal.
for the second straight day.
Yeah, it is a steal, and because of how beleaguered and the panic that really ensued in order just to make sure that Credit Suisse was able to have some type of buoy. But now, of course, the buoy in UBS and what they're acquiring here, it's the sunsetting of certain divisions, at least in the kind of integration of that business and what that could look like. And, of course, the extreme depression of their actual valuation coming into that deal, too. So UBS, they certainly got quite the acquisition that they were able to bring on. It's just about what that trimming looks like once they start to really integrate the two businesses as well.